Hey everybody, some time ago I promised I'd upload a video on how to install my 3D printed upgrades onto Volcanicus. It's been a while and I apologize for that, and a little bit of a disclaimer. I had another bot that was on top of one of my DTOFs with this guy. That bot fell over into this bot and took him down right to the floor. Snapped part of the 3D printed pin that's on the right back wing off and did some other damage to him. And for a while he's just been sitting in a corner in pieces, and I just didn't get around to him. So here we are. The string that's on there is just to keep this wing up, because the pin is broken, and I've never gotten around to reprinting another one. For anybody that's not aware, this is the oversized KO of Power of the Prime Dinobots, and normally they're about 14 inches tall in combiner mode, and he's very scraggly. He's kind of pathetic looking. So my upgrades, and that includes the wings in the back, the swords, the arm filler for swoop, all of this armament for Grimlock, leg extensions that give him another 1.5 inches there, the large feet, as well as this full set of armor and faceplate for for Volcanicus's head, to make his head bigger to match his new proportions. They give him enough height so that he can stand side by side with Hasbro's Power of the Prime's Predaking. They look good together. He's big and he's bulky, and there's nothing like, he can be flimsy because it's not intended for him to be this big, but you know, like, I can lean him back. He's not going to fall over. Stand him straight up here again. He's not going to fall over if you plant him properly, space out his legs properly, because he is also a lot more top heavy now. Here I have everything disassembled. I'm not really going to go over the legs too much. They're pretty much self-explanatory. You have a pin on the back of the foot. You have to remove it, press it into the slot on the top of the foot, make sure it's firmly seated, and that'll allow you to connect your bot in his leg mode. And the thigh extension is just basically the same as connecting the leg to Grimlock's leg. The wings, when my Volcanicus took his fall, suffered a lot of damage. I got a split here, and this all shattered in here, and this is actually a screw in here that's taped in because this whole pin shattered, and this all broke here. I'm not going to really go over the wings in much detail. This piece here snaps in from the side. If you're having problems getting it in, you don't want to break anything, apply a little bit of heat here and then push this piece in, because you do need friction there in order for the wing to stay in whatever position you want. So I can't make it too loose, but mine, I can't showcase that because mine are all damaged. Someday maybe I'll get around to printing another set. It's not up there on the top of my priorities right now. Anyways, this is what everybody's here for, is the how-to for the main components. So you really want to have Grimlock in sort of this position, like this here. You want the legs fully extended in the back, and you want his arms somewhat like that. There are several components here that will tab into several places here that will ensure that the final position of this arm is where it should be. The first components we need to install will be these fillers right here. You have a tab here that's going to slot in to a slot right there. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there's a slot underneath this panel here with the small dinosaur arm. There's a slot under there that this tab right here will tab into. Then we have a slot on the underside of this filler piece that will tab onto this tab on the upper arm of Grimlock. So this one right here, for example, goes on the left side, no, sorry, the right side, and we're going to put that tab in that slot right there, and then we're going to line this up and put the upper tab in there. So that will give you a partial lock on your final position. You still have this to deal with here, and we'll get to that in a minute. And there's something you have to do before you do your final lock on this. So let's do the other side. Do these with the arms unattached. It'll make it easier, but you will have to attach the arms before you proceed to the next steps after these. So we take this guy and take our slot and our tab. Get that in there, and then our tab and our slot up in there. Line them up, put them into place, and then that's that. For our skirt piece here, underneath there's a small tab right there, another tab there, and another tab there. These two tabs are just going to catch here, and this tab is going to catch underneath there. So what you want to do is you want to start by bringing it up and get this tab caught over the back of here, and then snap the other two tabs into place. So you go like that, and then bring it down, and then get the other two tabs into place, and they just catch and they're held in by friction, just like that. I suppose I can move his legs. So you see this tab is now caught there, and it's just the very bottom of these corners are just catching on the top edge of these tabs here, and that holds that into place pretty solid. So that's that. You're going to want to install Volcanicus's arms next. And the reason for that is because this final position for where these forearms are going to be, you're not going to have access to them. So you want to bring these out. This is locked into position now here. When we install all of the back piece, that will lock this into position. So. And I'm not very good at making how-to videos either. I'm a person that just figures out what I want, and I figure out how to do it. So I'm not very good at actually teaching others. Okay, now there's some other things we have to do. It's chest piece. So let's do that. So take this head, bring it forward, and then unlock this. Mine doesn't lock in very well, but regardless of that, there are two L clips here. They're going to slide over and under this gold piece. So they're going to slide in like that, and you're not going to have a lot of room here, and as you bring this down you'll get more room. So we got to make sure our new waist skirt is out of the way, and so how can I show you guys this? Okay, let's do this. So you're gonna come down up here, right? And then angle down and get these over that, and then bring him down, and then slide that up like that, and then put his gold piece back into position, and then bring the head down, and that's in place. And then we've got all the front armor installed. And you notice here there's no head right now because we're going to go over the head later. Now we're going to go to the back. We've got a bunch of pieces here for the back. We've got our back skirt. We've got two side skirts. We've got two side fillers. And we've got all of our back armor here. Before I put the back armor on here, we'll go over something. So mine also got damaged here when it fell. So there's two notches on either side here. There's a little hole and a slot, and these are for weapon storage if you do not want him to hold them. And these go on a certain way. They don't go on this way, they go on this way. I like the look of it. So, and this can go on either side, but I prefer it with the blade out. And you might have issues if you, like I've had the wings and the blades on together. It just makes for difficulty posing the wings. But yeah, these can tab on here, and they tab on there very securely. So, right, it just gives him a nice look. It makes him more imposing. But that is just, there's, you know, storage for two swords on the back. And that flopping here isn't the tab; it's the sword on its handles is not glued in. So they're very secure. They tab in there. So, and this prints all as one, and it's got posability as well. Each one of these is on a joint. So now there's this piece here that you print, and this piece separate. You don't have to glue the two together. There's two pins that go on this that go through slots in this piece, but I glued them together because there's no reason for them to be separate. A separate piece, but they're easier to print as a separate piece. So I glue the two together, and that way they're now one piece. So I'm going to set that there for a moment because there's other stuff we have to do. We have these filler pieces, a left and a right, and they go on a specific way. So you've got these little pistons here that come out, and they're to match the pistons on the front. And this goes on. You've got these little tabs, and they go in these little holes here. So there's a left and a right, and how you tell that is there's this little groove here, and the groove has to be facing the back. So if I put this one over here, I've got no groove. So if I put it on this side, however, into its slot, and I tab it in place, I've got my groove. And that groove is clearance for these right here. Okay. Now, these guys here. These components here print with print in place, and they have movable hip skirts. You can, right, just tabs in there. And the reason why I recommend gluing these is this can come off the bot even with these glued to this, but they can't print well on a printer as one piece. So they're printed separate like this, but they can be glued together and still function on the bot and hold together better. So these pin together like that, and then you've got a hole there and a hole there in the upper piece of the new skirt piece, and that's where these pins go. These three lower ones, they were just for prototyping. They don't serve any purpose. So that just presses in there. Presses in there. So let me, right there. There we go. And there. Okay. So now that we've got our rear waist skirt on and our filler pieces in place, we can put this back piece in place. And now there are a lot of connections here that are going to tighten up and secure some items. So you've got these two holes here. They're going to connect on the back side of the forearm on some pegs. This guy here and here. Okay, and then we've got some pegs on our filler pieces that are going to go in here and here. Now we've got a peg here and here that will go in a hole here and here. And then these two pieces here go around the sides. So we're going to line these up and try to hopefully everything else falls into place, because we got to get the what is now the shoulder, but what is his forearm, lined up first and pegged in place. And that'll finish locking the arms, the upper arms, the shoulders in position. So once those are in, everything else is easy to line up. Just clips into place. Just line it up. Line it up. Clips into place. Right like that. So that secures that. That's also another locking point for this front piece. So now we've got our back armor on. Our shoulders are securely locked in place. Same with over here. It's now locked in place solid. So we can ratchet. And we're going to go over his head. So you get this piece here, and his head is on a mushroom peg. You'll have to take the screw out in the back to pull him off the mushroom peg, and then put his head back together. Put his head in here like this, and there's an L-shaped tab here, and an L-shaped groove. There's also a little groove right there, and that is for this antenna that faces forward. It's going to snap in place there. So you're going to line up the L, and then what you're going to do is you're going to tilt his head back a little bit, and then you hear that little bit of a snap. That's his antenna clicking into place. Same with this side. Get it on the L. Get in there. There we go. And then tilt, and you hear a little clip, and then his head is together. And this bottom piece has a slot in it that you can slide it on to the mushroom peg. So we can do that now. Just like that. There we have this upper body fully assembled, the new head fully assembled to match the proportions.